It's another edition of Speed Chronicles. How are you? It's Good Wednesday. We're in the middle of the week, super hot in a good part of the world in Southern Ontario, where I'm located right now. Hope you're enjoying this kind of weather. I don't mind it myself. We've started this and we've had some good feedback of Speed Chronicles every Wednesday here on the RevTV YouTube channel. Thanks for your feedback. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for your questions. It is just kind of a bit of a wrap up of what's happened last weekend, looking ahead to this weekend. Again, not really results oriented, but just kind of talking about stories, talking about issues. If you got further thoughts, comments, we appreciate it. Love the feedback. If you've got ideas and some suggestions, we'll appreciate that too. On the social channels, on X, on Instagram, at RevTV, at Todd Lewis Sports, use the hashtag Speed Chronicles. Feel free to use it. Make it a thing. That's fine with us. So where shall we start? How about from last week with Iowa and the NASCAR series events that took place at Iowa Speedway? First time that the Cup Series raced there. What did you think? I thought it was all right. Thought we saw some side-by-side racing. Thought we saw a little bit of drama with drivers trying to take positions that were a bit aggressive, make moves that were aggressive. These are all good things. This is the kind of stuff that you want to see. It was a bit of a question in terms of partial repave. How was that going to impact the teams? Seemed to work out okay for the Cup Series. I think we had a good race. It was fun. It was Sunday evening too, which I found kind of interesting. Yes, partly because of the heat. I can understand that, but I think it was interesting too to run the race on Sunday evening. I don't know if it's something that we'll see more of, less of in the days, weeks, months, years ahead. But I thought it was kind of interesting. Obviously, you're not going to go against NFL football when the time comes, but Sunday evening's not a bad thing if you're running a race then, a top level series race then. I thought it was okay. The other thing that we should make note of, for those that were pleased to have Iowa on the Cup Series schedule and to have a good race and good competition and plenty of action, give thanks to Montreal. Yes, give thanks to Montreal, because if the Cup Series race in Montreal had happened in 2024, as it seemed to be on track to be happening, Iowa would not have happened. So there's the benefit of not being in Montreal this year. You get a good race at Iowa. It immediately, of course, brings up the question too, what's going to happen with the NASCAR schedule next year? We already got INDYCAR schedule, already got a F1 schedule, already got IMSA schedule for next year. Interesting to see what's going to happen with NASCAR and the Cup Series for next year. It's very quiet. Nothing is imminent in terms of announcements and in terms of Montreal especially. But and again, the charter situation is the one that's still looming in NASCAR, and that's the one that everybody's going to be focused on for a while, from the teams and the series. So we'll wait and see. But good play in Iowa. I thought it was a pretty good event, and things went well. Good TV. Which also brings up that this was NBC's first race of the year as the broadcaster for the Cup Series. Fox is done with Cup for this year. Now it's NBC. Some love the move, some dislike the move. I'll go somewhere in between. What I will say is there's no Dale Earnhardt Jr. this year on the NBC broadcast, which I think is a good thing. And I'll tell you why, because I'm not a Dale Earnhardt Jr. hater. I don't believe everything he says is the gospel the way some do, but I think it's good that there are fewer voices as part of NBC's coverage, because it didn't seem as busy and frantic and chaos in terms of somebody's got to say something all the time and we have to try to hype up the next lap because it's going to be better than the previous lap and it's not going to be as good as the next one. And you simply can't keep up with that for 300 laps at a race. I thought it was better, that it seemed better paced. I didn't think that it was everyone trying to out-hype everybody else. I thought it was much better, calmer, more enjoyable, quite frankly, to listen to. So we'll see what happens with it going forward. I think that they still have too many people on this show. I don't think you need Dale Jarrett and Kyle Petty. Again, I'm not being a hater of either one, but more isn't necessarily always better. Do you need 15 announcers at an event? Yeah, I know that's kind of what I do, but no, because too many is not a good thing. It makes it too difficult to navigate. So, but I think subtracting one voice from NBC, I think was very much a positive for them. Let's also talk about television as it relates to IndyCar because we were doing it a week ago. And I said, I'm calling BS on NBC offering every race on network TV. And oh, lo and behold, they didn't offer every race on television for network. Yeah, that was not going to happen. That's not the NBC business plan. So IndyCar is leaving NBC and going to Fox. And again, some are suggesting that this is going to be the best thing. Some are suggesting this is the absolute worst choice and decision that you can make. It's a big get in terms of having every race on network TV. Yes, I know people are cutting cords faster than ever. More people are going strictly to streaming services, but having every IndyCar race on network TV is a positive for the series because it will net them the biggest possible audience. Their cable races, quite frankly, some of the ratings were quite dismal, and it's an issue that needed to be addressed. You'll still be able to get practice on the other cable systems of FS1 or FS2. The audience for those is very small. It's not the million plus that you're getting in the United States for every race that's on network TV. So you have an outlet for those that are devoted and want to see every second of every session all season long. This is the best deal. And it nets them more money. Now, of course, the discussion is how much are we going to see a change in the broadcast? I don't think it's going to be tremendous. Sure, there will be a little bit of Fox innovation, which I think can be a good thing. All of the announcers that are currently on NBC will not be on the broadcast for Fox next year. I think there might be a little bit of carryover. I know there's some that would be interested. We'll see. If it's Fox, I think Alan Bestwick would be an excellent addition. I think having Jamie Little, who is already in Fox and doing NASCAR, would be a very positive addition for IndyCar. She did great work for IndyCar when she was with ESPN years ago. So we'll see what happens. That's not the only drama in IndyCar, of course, because has there been a driver change in the 6 car for McLaren yet? I mean, there was yesterday. Maybe there is again today. It's still early. This drama is unbelievable. Starts with David Malukas, breaks his hand, can't go. So Callum Ilott comes in. Oh, then Teo Porcher, Teddy Porkchops. What's going to become of Teddy Porkchops now? Oh, well, gave up what was a pretty good seat for a McLaren seat for the rest of the year, or so he thought. Nope. Now it's Nolan Siegel, who's in for the rest of the year and beyond, apparently. I'd like to see the language on that contract because that's what's really important in terms of whether or not his seat is secure moving forward. I don't know. But honestly, this is professional sports. This is the cutthroat nature of it sometimes. It's not fun. It's business, but this is the way it happens sometimes. This is how McLaren operates. They move drivers in and out. Remember, they're the ones that cut out Daniel Ricciardo, the most popular driver in Formula One, apparently. No performance, got to go. And sometimes that's what happens. So I'm interested to see what goes from there. Formula One was off this past week. They returned to the European continent for some races moving forward. IMSA is back in action. Watkins Glen is coming up, a really great event for them to have those cars at Watkins Glen. It'll be fun. It'll be exciting to watch. NASCAR continues as well. The NASCAR Canada Series back in action. I'm excited to say headed back to the Rock, headed back to Newfoundland for this weekend at Eastbound Park. Terrific event the last couple of years. I'll be enjoying that again this year. It's a longer trip out east for NASCAR Canada teams because they have added races at Riverside Speedway. That's back on the schedule again, which is great and also challenging. It's great in that Riverside is back. The action is terrific. It's a fun track. You get great side-by-side racing. In fact, there's going to be two races on back-to-back days. And I think that's great. But an extended trip for the teams now of better than a week where you're going to be staying out east, that's an added expense. And that's a challenge. This is just the third race of the season for NASCAR Canada. It will take place in the third different province, and it'll be the fourth different province a week from now. That's an added expense, and it's taxing and takes a toll on the teams. It's a challenge, not one that's insurmountable, but it is a challenge right now for some of these teams to make those events. But looking forward to it. I'm expecting good racing and a good time to be had by all. So what else has happened this week? Oh, this is sort of racing related, and just because it's been going on so long, I'm really anxious to see how this plays out. It was announced this past week that the premiere for Brad Pitt's Formula One movie is going to take place about a year from now. in June of 2025. It's been delayed. It got held up, but Brad Pitt's in it. Lewis Hamilton is one of the producers. That's great. And everybody's a little curious, I think, about this Formula One movie. I'm not really concerned about what the racing scenes look like. Sometimes I think we get obsessed with that. It's a movie. You have to suspend reality a little bit sometimes, not to the point of ridiculous, but if it's about racing, that's fine. You understand that you're going to take some liberties and some creative license. Okay, I can live with that. I think the most important thing is the story. What's the story of this still untitled Formula One movie that Brad Pitt and Lewis Hamilton are producing and putting together, and Brad Pitt is starring in? That's the most important thing. If you want motorsports or racing movies, that's cool. I'm okay with that, but give me a good story to go along with it. Ford versus Ferrari. It was a good story. It was well performed and acted. Good story. Rush with Niki Lauda, James Hunt. It's a good story. Yes, there's some racing scenes into it. That's the conduit that brings it forward. But the most important part, tell me a good story. I'll give you a little slack on whether or not the racing scenes are totally realistic or not. So that's this edition of Speed Chronicles. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking it out on the RevTV YouTube channel. Love the feedback again on the social channels at RevTV, at Todd Lewis Sports, on Twitter, on Insta. Yes, I'm still calling it Twitter. X, if you prefer. Thoughts, ideas, questions. We're kicking around a few things to do in the future with this moving forward. Still no particular structure or format. We'll get to that in plenty of time. But thanks for checking it out. Enjoy the racing this weekend. We'll do it again next Wednesday.